Welcome back to Doing the Math at Home. My name is Tracy Fox, and I'm a Teacher Development Specialist. This is HISD at Home TV. Boys and girls, for today's lesson, we are going to model, represent, and solve two-step addition and subtraction math stories. In order for us to get into the work today, there's a couple of things that I need you to get on the front side. The first thing I need you to do is to get something to write with. That can be a notebook or a few sheets of loose leaf paper. I also need you to grab something to write with. It can be a marker, a pencil, a colored pencil, or a pen, but those are the two items that we'll need for today's lesson. So let's review how to create a word problem when given a number sentence. So let's start by looking at our number sentence. 289 minus 48 minus 34 is the same as an unknown difference. So let's start with the number 289 and let's generate a scenario. So I'm thinking about a teacher who maybe has some folders in a closet. So I'm going to start with Miss Fox has 289 folders in her closet. All right, let's keep going. 48 of the folders are blue. "34 of the folders are green. The rest of the folders are yellow." And what am I trying to find out? I'm trying to find out how many yellow folders there are. How many folders are yellow? So we were very easily able to go ahead and create a word problem using our number sentence. We know that the number sentence is representing a word problem. This is something that you guys are going to have to be able to do as you move into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So now, how do we take this word problem and this number sentence that we have, and now how do we represent this using a number line? So we know that we started with a total of 289 folders. We know if we jump backwards, that will tell us how many folders are blue. And then if I make another jump back and I take away the 34 folders that are green, I can then find the difference, which is the yellow folders. So many times, boys and girls, we are able to take a number sentence and we're able to generate a word problem, but we sometimes get in trouble when we have to represent the number sentence on an open number line, and this is how we do it. I didn't have to do any math. I just needed to be able to represent what's happening in the problem that matches my number sentence. Let's go ahead and solve this problem. So we know that we have a number sentence where 289 minus 48 minus 34 is equal to an unknown difference. It's really important here to recognize that this is actually a two-step problem. So as we begin, let's start with the number sentence that we generated when we represented the problem. So we know that we had our number sentence And we started with a total of 289 folders. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the quantity of 48 and I'm going to decompose this into 40 and 8. So now I know that 289 minus 40 is equal to 249. So I'm going to take a jump back of 40, which gets me to 249. And then I can take a jump back of 8, which gets me to a difference of 241. So now that I'm at 241, I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to take 34, and I'm going to decompose 34 into 30 and 4. And I can take away a group of 30, because 241 minus 30 is the same as 211. And then I know I need to jump back 4. So I'm at 211, and I need to make 4 jumps backwards, and they're each minus 1. So 211, 210, 209, 208, 207. So boys and girls, when I look at 289 minus 48 minus 34, I get a difference of 207. So now I know that I had 207 yellow folders. But let's look at this in another way. I could take the same number sentence and I can do it in 2 steps. So let me grab another color. And I could say that I have 200 plus 80 plus 9, and I want to subtract 40 and 8. So now, what is 8 from 9? 8 from 9 leaves me 1. 40 from 80 is 40. And nothing from 200 is 200. So 200 plus 40 plus 1 is the same as 241. So I've subtracted the 48. Now I need to take 34 from 241, and let's expand that to 200 plus 40 plus 1. And now we're going to take 34 from that, which is 30 and 4. And what I see here is that I'm going to have a hard time taking 4 from 1, so I can go ahead and regroup. This 40, I can take a group of 10. I can expand that group of 10 into 10 groups of 1. 10 groups of 1 and 1 more is 11. So 4 from 11 is 7. 30 from 30 is 0, and 200, nothing from 200 is 200. And when I join these three quantities together, and I compose that, I get 207. So now I've got 207 yellow folders, and I have 207 folders. So we've taken the opportunity to show you at least 2 other ways that you can add and subtract 2-step problems. As we get into our Let's Learn section today, remember that we're focused on modeling, representing, and solving 2-step addition and subtraction problems. In order to help us not just focus on the numbers, we're going to implement the use of our 3 reads strategy during this section. So let's go back through the 3 reads section. It's super important that we are reading to comprehend a math problem first. I know many times I have looked at a math story, gotten confused, and just said, you know what? I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to take all the numbers and I'm going to add them up. We don't need to do that. We can actually use the 3 reads strategy to help us comprehend what's going on in a problem. So the first step of this is, what is the story about? During our first read, we're not going to pay any attention to the numbers, but we are going to worry about who are the characters in my story and what's happening in it. The second time we read the problem, we're going to focus on, what do I need to find out? So think about the question, what information's missing? And the third time we read it, we're going to focus on, what do I know and what do I need to know? So that's the 3-read strategy in a nutshell. So let's apply this to our Let's Learn problem of the day. And before we get started, boys and girls, go ahead and pull out a clean sheet of paper and make this on your paper. In your first box, it's what is this about, which ties to our 3-read strategy. What do I need to find out, which is our second read, and what do I know, which will be our 3rd read. Then we're going to go ahead and build a strip diagram, and we're going to figure out how to solve this problem. So here we go, our first read. Remember, I want you to think about, what is this story about? A school library has 487 books. The library donated 141 books to charity. The library bought 225 new books. How many books does the library have now? So what is this story about? Think about it for a second. What did you read? Okay, we know that this story is taking place in a school library, and it has to do with books. So under the box that says, what is this about? I just want you to put in there a school library and books. The second time we read this, we're going to focus on, what do I need to find out? So let's read this one more time. And while we're doing that, let's think about, what do I need to find out? What information is missing? A school library has 487 books. The library donated 141 books to charity. The library bought 225 new books. How many books does the library have now? Well, it seems that I kind of know how the problem starts, and I know that they've donated a quantity of books to charity, and then they bought some more new ones. So my question's making me think that we need to know how many they have at the end of the story. So under what do I need to find out, I need to find out how many library books at the end. So now that we know this story is about a library and some books, and we know that we need to find out how many books that they have at the end, let's figure out what we know. And we're going to read this one more time. A school library has 487 books. The library donated 141 books to charity, and then the library bought 225 new books. How many books does the library have now? So what do we know? We know that they have 487 books. That means when they walked in the door that day and they counted their books, they know that they own 487 books. They donated 141 books to charity, which means they took books, packed them up in a box, and donated them to a local charity. Then the library bought 225 new books, which means that they ordered some books. Those books have arrived, and they're coming into the library. So we know the information that we need for this section. We know that we started with 487 books. We know we've donated 141 books, and we know that we've bought 225 books. So let's start thinking about how we can represent this with a strip diagram. So what did we know when we started? We knew when we started that we had 487 books. This is our starting amount. Then what happened? We know that the library donated 141 books to charity. Remember, when we donate something, it's like taking it out of our house and giving it to somebody else. So I know that the 141 will not be joining the 487, but it will be leaving the 487. So these represent, this 141 represents the donated books. So what do I need to find out? I need to find out how many books they had after the donation. So let's go ahead and label that. And I know you're drawing these at home. So I don't know what this is. But when I think about my question and what I'm trying to find out, am I looking for books after the donation? Well, if I go back into my word problem and I read, the second sentence gets me to what's donated. Well, I'm still missing, then the library bought 225 new books. So I know I'm not done yet. But I'm really going to have a hard time going any further if I don't figure this part out yet. So let's do the math. I'm going to decompose 487 into 400 plus 80 plus 7, and I'm going to subtract 141 from the 487. So let's decompose 141. I have a group of 100. I have 4 groups of 10, which has a value of 40. And I have 4 groups of 1. I'm sorry, I have 1 group of 1. So I have 1, and I'm going to subtract. So as we subtract, we're going to take 1 from 7, which gives me 6. I'm going to take 40 from 80, which is 40. And I'm going to take 100 from 400, which is 300. And if I compose my values together, I know that there are 346 books after they have donated 141 books to a local charity. But I'm going to double check my math real quick just to make sure that I have it. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to add on this time. I know that I had a total of 487 books, and I know that I'm giving away 141. So let's work backwards. 141, and I've already decomposed it here, so I'm going to use this to help me subtract. So 487 minus 100 gets me to 387. 387 minus 40 gets me to 347. And then if I subtract 1 more, then I know that I'm at 346. And I could double check that I took away 141 by joining these together. And I see 140 is 140 plus 1 more is 141. So now I know by using 2 different strategies that my math is correct. So we know that we're not done yet. So now I know how many books I have after the donation. So let's go ahead and start our next strip diagram. So I've got 346 books after the donation. And what else do I know? I know then that the library bought 225 more books. So let's talk about it. If I'm buying books and I'm bringing them to the library, would I be taking away from the 346 books, or would I be joining those 225 books with the books that were left after the donation? If you said that I'm going to join them, you're correct. So now I can see that I have 346, and then this is the 225 that I bought. So now that I know that, I wonder how many books the library has now. Well, that's going to be our unknown sum. So this is the books in library. at the end. So will that answer my questions? How many library books at the end? That's going to answer that question. So now let's do the same thing here, and let's join 346 and 225, and we're going to use expanded form again, and this time we're going to add. So I know that I have 300 plus 40 plus 6, and I'm going to decompose 225, and I'm going to join that. That's 200 plus 20 plus 5. And we're going to go ahead and join that. So I have 6 groups of 1 and 5 groups of 1, which makes 11 groups of 1. So I'm going to leave my 1 group of 1 here, and I'm going to regroup the 10 groups of 1, and I'm going to regroup that to the 10. So 10 plus 40 is 50. 50 and 20 is 70. I don't need to regroup anything, and 300 and 200 is the same as 500. If I compose my values together, I have 571 books. But you know that we're going to try this one more time, and we're going to join quantities using our open number line. So we're going to go ahead and draw our number line again. We're going to start with what? We know we had a starting amount of 346, and we're going to use the 200, the 20, and the 5 to add. So 346 plus 200 is 546. 546 and 20 is 566. And then I need 5 more. So let's make our little jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 566, 567, 568, 569, 570, 571. So, boys and girls, how many books did we have in the library after we've donated some and we've bought some? We have a total of 571 books. We are getting ready to move into the Let's Practice piece. Boys and girls, ask an adult to grab a camera or grab a cell phone so that they can take a picture of your practice problem. Let's look at our practice problem today. Represent the following math story using a strip diagram and a number sentence. Then solve. Remember to use the 3-read strategy to understand the story. Problem. A bakery had 120 cupcakes. It sold 45 cupcakes in the morning and 38 cupcakes in the afternoon. How many cupcakes did the bakery have then? Families, I would like to thank you for taking the time to spend with me today as we reviewed how to model, represent, and solve two-step addition and subtraction problems. If you need any assistance with today's lesson, please feel free to reach out to your classroom teacher. And if you want additional practice activities, go out to our HISD at Home website for additional resources. My name's Tracy Fox, and I'm wishing you an amazing math day.